Today's video is sponsored by Minimal Case. Alright guys, so I just got my brand new Pixel 4a, and the first thing that I did was slap a minimal case on it. And the reason I like minimal cases is they don't add bulk and they don't actually take away from the design of the phone. In fact, I'm using the frosted black case on here and it doesn't even look like I have a case on it at all. And what it's doing is it's adding protection against scratches, light drops, and it even protects the glass camera bump on the back of the phone. And they also come in other neutral colors like frosted white, matte black, and I even had the clear case on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. If you're like me and you just don't like bulky cases but you want to keep your device looking new, minimal cases are the way to go. Now if you are interested in checking out Minimal Case, I will have a link in the description. If you use the code Gamesky, you can even save 25% off. And again, I'd like to thank Minimal Case for sponsoring today's video. Alright guys, so today we're going to check out a brand new pair of truly wireless earbuds, but this is also going to be the first video where you're going to be able to hear sound samples for yourself on this channel. And this is something I want to continue to do, that way you can hear my opinion, but you can also kind of hear for yourself what some of the strengths and weaknesses of these earbuds are. And the pair we're going to check out today is the Northside Solutions NS Series 10. Now that is a very long name, so from here on out we'll just call this the NS Series 10 or Series 10, but you'll know what I'm talking about. But this is a pair that comes in at $40 and it actually has some pretty impressive features, but also some things that kind of leave me scratching my head. But we're going to check out some of those features, what it is you get inside the box, and see if it's worth that $40 price tag. Now to start with, these do have Bluetooth 5.0, and although on the box and the website it doesn't say what Bluetooth codecs it plays, I didn't experience any lag with movies or videos, and I didn't have any dropouts as far as connection goes. So that is definitely a huge plus on a pair that's very inexpensive. Now as far as the IP rating, they come in rated at IPX7, so they are completely waterproof and easily a pair that you can go out and use and not have to worry if it starts to rain or if you drop these in the puddle or a pool, they're going to be okay. Now as far as what you're getting inside the box, they have included 4 sets of silicone ear tips, and sadly they use a micro USB cable. This just seems very dated at this point, especially this far along in 2020 where most things are using USB-C. But speaking of the charging cable, the battery life is actually pretty decent, because on the earbuds themselves you're going to get around 6 hours, where with the charging case you're going to get around 24. And if you do happen to pick the earbuds up and they are dead, it does have a fast charge feature where a quick 10-minute charge will get you an hour's worth of use. Now, moving over to looking at the case, I feel like the case is very solidly built, although on the back you can see the micro USB input, and then right next to it is 3 indicator lights so that you can kind of gauge how much battery life is left on the case. Now, when you open up the lid to these, the first thing that I notice is the earbuds actually have a pretty unique design. It has a very large flat surface, and these use button controls which work extremely well, other than the fact that you can hear every click of the button. That may not matter to most, but over time that does get kind of annoying. But the huge plus here is the button controls let you control everything. So you have play, pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, and even volume control. Now, as far as you guys that like to use your earbuds individually, you'll be happy to know you can use either the left or the right. And then as far as the microphones on here, I think they did a very decent job, especially considering that these have an IPX7 rating, which usually affects the coating on the earbuds and it affects the microphone. But these also have the CVC technology, which allows the microphones to focus in on your voice and block out a lot of your surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. Alright guys, so here is a mic test using the Series 10. Again, I think it does a very good job of picking up my voice. It does sound a little distant at times, but I don't think a lot of people would have complaints on the other line. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. And in fact, before I talk about the sound and my opinion on it, I want to be able to allow you guys to hear some samples from the earbuds themselves. And the best way to do this is to put on a pair of headphones or either earbuds yourself so that you can hear some of the characteristics of these earbuds. But we'll go ahead and check out some samples here. So now that you guys have heard some samples from these, I want to tell you kind of how I feel about them. I feel like overall it is a very warm sounding earbud. I feel like at times the bass is just overly boomy and can definitely affect the mids and the highs. I felt like the mids, kind of no matter what I was listening to, sounded a little veiled. So it sounded like there was kind of a wall between what you were listening to and the vocalist that's trying to sing to you. And at times that's just distracting. Now, if there's not bass going on in a song, if you're just listening to something that's very vocal driven, it doesn't seem to affect it as much. But overall, any type of bass at all is going to affect the mids. And usually with boomy bass, I like to have treble that's pretty tuned up so that it has a little better balance with a boomy bass. But for some reason, these have a flatter treble. You don't really have any problems hearing details, but they just don't seem like they stand out as much as I like to hear in other earbuds. Now, as far as the soundstage and the sound imaging, this is not a very wide sounding earbud. It more or less sounds like you have two big speakers right there in front of you, which doesn't offer a lot of depth when it comes to instruments. Now, I don't really have any issues with being able to tell where instruments are coming from. They just don't sound as natural as I like. And so as far as music goes, I really wasn't a huge fan, but I do feel like they're very good for podcasts and watching movies and watching YouTube videos where there's not a lot of music and not a lot of things affecting the sound, and it felt like vocals stood out a little more when it came to that. Now, as far as some of my cons with these, I am not a huge fan of the micro USB cable. I am definitely not a huge fan of the bass affecting the rest of the sound, but I still feel like for $40, this is a very good pickup if you're looking for something that has an IPX7 rating where you could just wear them and not have to worry, or especially if you're somebody that's more listening to podcasts or just using these to watch movies. Now, if your main focus is going to be using earbuds for listening to music, I would definitely recommend some other earbuds that are out there, but for the $40 price tag, you're not heavily invested, and maybe it kind of fits what you're looking for, but for me, it just didn't fit my needs. But guys, that's my video on the Northside Solution NS Series 10. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.